System with Simon Says Social in the Systems Lounge. And I want to take a moment today to welcome you to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit, where you will learn all about the business systems that our speakers use to get things done every single day. And today I am so excited to be talking with Naima Sheikh. Did I pronounce that right? I think I messed it up.
Almost there. Naima
Sheikh. Okay. She is here to talk with us all about mapping digital products. So Naima works with individuals to help them to cover the technical and creative humps that stand between them and successfully taking their expertise to market. She does this by helping her clients to acquire those many online business skills so that they can develop their digital confidence required in order to thrive in the internet economy. So welcome. It is so exciting to have you here, and I am so stoked to talk about mapping digital products.
Thank you, Marissa. It's fantastic to be here. I'm really excited to be part of the summit. I'm really big on systems, and as you know, this is what I tend to do with clients, you know, because they think all of this stuff is getting in my way. They've got so much to share, and what I like to do is to just say, look, it's a step-by-step process. It's a system. Everything can be a system, and that can get you to the other side of all of this craziness. And I find that once they get their hands on these systems or processes or blueprints, then they become so much more confident that they begin to operate in the digital world the same way you would operate in real life.
Exactly. And I think that's a lot of what people don't understand is putting those systems together. It may take a little bit of time on the front end, but it saves you so much time on the back end.
I know. I mean, if you think about it, once upon a time we had typists, right? Now nobody would ever think about having someone else type their stuff. They just go and hop into their email. Right. So today what I wanted to talk about is how I use mapping and mind maps in particular to get from idea to finished product. And so if it's all right, I'm going to see if I can master the technology myself and share my screen.
Awesome.
Yeah, let me go to share screen here.
So while you're sharing your screen, can we take just a moment and define what a digital product is? Not everybody understands what that is.
Sure. So when I talk about a digital product, is anything from a PDF document. It could be a video, it could be an audio, basically anything that I can download and consume.
Okay.
So it's not as opposed to a physical product, right? Okay. So it's not like a paperback book or a CD, even though CDs and paperbacks may contain information. Right. A digital product is something that I can download, which allows me to then kind of consume it over the net.
So that's like an ebook or an online course or anything like that. That's okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Yeah. All right. Let me see now. Where were we? Share screen.
And guys, those of you that are watching, when she shares her screen, you may want to blow your window up pretty large so you can see what she's offering on the screen. If it looks a little small to you, just enlarge the image.
So are you able to see my keynote first slide there?
I see it.
Awesome. So I'm going to go full screen here. And is that okay? Can you see everything still?
Yep.
Awesome.
That's great.
So let us talk about the mapping method. Actually, hold on. I've got something that's not quite, here we go. All right. So the mapping method, what we're going to talk about is a step-by-step visual method that's going to get you from concept that's in your head to a digital product, and fast. And we want it fast because speed is one of the most important things in online business, not just because technology is moving fast and not just because the internet itself is just changing so quickly that you really need to be on the ball, but also because it's actually a competitive advantage. When you can be the first or one of the earliest to market, you're the one who gets to take the fish home. I'm not really a fish eater, but yeah, there you go. And speed is also good because when you have that idea, you can ride the momentum before you get bored with it and kind of hit that dip. And if you can do things quickly, it will help you become prolific. And of course, the more products that you have, the more offerings you can have out there on the market, and the more money that you can make, and the more people that you can impact. And so when you sit down to then create these digital products, believe me, you don't want to just wing it, because having a roadmap is going to help make sure that you don't get lost. You don't get off on weird tangents when the next shiny object comes along, shiny object syndrome. And when you're looking at a roadmap, you know exactly where you are and where you need to be going. So this is why it's actually important to have these roadmaps rather than to kind of just doing it off the top of your head. So what we want to do is we want to go from, I know what I want to talk about. I know what I want to talk about. It's all in my head, but how do I get it out of my head and into a digital product? Not just into a digital product, but how do I get from my idea to I'm ready to sell it? Mm-hmm. And how do I do it fast?
Yes.
All right. Excited? Yes. So introducing what I call my mapping method. My light bulb moment about this actually came along when I was on Skype with a colleague, a good friend of mine, do a lot of work together. She runs a high-end consultancy for some pretty big organizations, the NHS in the UK, some large hotel chains, and so on. And she wanted to put her expertise into digital products so that she could reach a wider market. I mean, she could only kind of be physically in one place, so often. And she'd been really stuck for a long time, trying to get this thing done. Months and months and months that she'd been trying to create this book. And I told her that how I had sort of decided that I was going to, I made a foolish promise to a mastermind group I was in. And I said, I'm going to have my product up and running in 6 weeks. And oh my gosh, and I don't know, why did I promise that? And anyway, this is where I am. And I shared my screen and I sent her a copy of my mind map. This is what happened. 2 hours later, I got this email. It went, amazing, thank you so much. In just 2 hours from the initial download of the tool to the completed product outline, just 2 hours.
Wow.
She still has to do the workbooks, and she was just absolutely over the moon. And what she said to me is that she's never, ever, ever done something like this as fast as she managed to get this done. And this is a fairly experienced professional here. So I thought, maybe we're onto something here. Wow. Like I said, this is not the kind of person who uses exclamation marks, but she really was into it. So in the mapping method, we're going to figure out how to create products in hours rather than months, how to create the right outline so that it actually creates itself, and how to pick the right tool so that product creation becomes super fast and you get really, really super productive on it.
Nice.
And I want to just tell you a little bit about me. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of a third culture kid. I grew up all over the place. And after 25 years in IT management, I also learned how to be a certified coach. And I moved into creating digital products and brands. And part of my story is that I really did move around a lot. I mean, I was born in London to Somali parents, spent a long time in the Middle East, all over Europe. I was educated in India, in the US, in Europe, all over the place. Met my Italian husband in the Middle East. As you can see, we moved to Turkey, where I was doing some stuff with like youth startup weekends. And now I'm here in Miami, and the babies have all kind of grown up. And the important part about all of this story is that I learned really quickly how to adapt to new environments. At one point, we were moving every 18 months, and I had to learn to adapt super fast.
Yeah.
And when you kind of got 2 kids in tow, you've got to learn to come up with systems so that you can come up to speed again, super fast. I mean, I tell you, when I went from being a corporate person to a homemaker, I'm like, project management? You mean you want 3 meals like 3 times a day? Seriously? So 3 deadlines every day? It was awesome. and so I moved that into helping online business owners how to create their brands, how they present themselves online, and their digital products again, fast. So what is the mapping method? The mapping method is, first of all, a step-by-step process. It's not a concept, it's a process. It's visual. And this is really important because we do so much visually. When I say to you, don't think about the pink elephant, you had to kind of see the pink elephant in your head before you could stop thinking about it. We are visual creatures. And so using something that's visual really helps us get there that much faster. It's quick, and it's repeatable. So the mapping method is actually 5 steps, the A, B, C, D, E of it all. Okay. So the A stands for the aftermath. And that's really where you want to talk about the outcome. What will your customer have after they've consumed this digital product? What does the aftermath of a successful consumption look like? Then we want to brainstorm everything about the product, everything that can lead us to that aftermath. So you see, we're starting with the end in mind and then backing that into a brainstorming session rather than brainstorming first, because then you're going to be all over the place. By having the aftermath first, then you know what to brainstorm about. And then come the containers. Now, what are containers? It's important that we draw boundaries in terms of everything that needs to be created within that digital product. If you go from brainstorming directly to creating, you get lost because there's, again, too much. But first, we draw the boundaries, and then we go in and we fill in the detail. And only after we've done that do we then go and make it look pretty. And it's important to follow this sequence, because what I find is that if I start with the brainstorming and then I go off, as I did in my senior thesis in college when I spent, 4 months designing the cover page, and then like 4 hours to write the whole thing afterwards, which didn't work out so well.
Right.
So the key tool for the mapping method, in case you didn't guess it by now, is a mind map. Now, there are a load of mind map applications out there. My 3 favorite ones are MindNode. That's a Mac-only app. I use a Mac, and you can only have MindNode for the Mac or the iOS, and it's a paid app. Then there's Xmind that runs on all platforms. It has a free version and a pro version. And finally, there's MindMeister, which is actually an online tool. I think it also has an iOS application. There are free versions, and there's also a pro version. Have you used any of these yourself, Marissa?
I've used MindMeister before.
Yeah. It's quite fun.
Yeah.
So why is mind mapping the answer? I mean, lots of people have done creation of products using different kinds of tools, Trello, for example, or simply outlining something in a Word document. The main reason why I like it is because, first of all, it's an all-in-one tool. In the same place, you can brainstorm, you can organize, you can copy and paste research, you can add notes, you can do everything. And it's all in one page. And it being in one page is important because it gives you the big picture and the detail at the same time. You can see the whole thing, and then you can collapse and expand so that you can focus on specifically what you want at that time. And the ability to be able to hide things means that you don't get so overwhelmed. So you can collapse things and just open up the piece that you need to focus on at that time. Mm-hmm. And it's flexible because you can add your own symbols, you can kind of move it around and sequence it in whichever way that you want. You can group and then ungroup and, draw lines around it. And the best part, it's portable. Mm-hmm. Not only in terms of being able to move it from, mobile to your desktop or whatever. But one of the things I really like to do when I'm working on a product is I export it as an image, and then I use it as my screensaver or on my phone lock screen. So it's like in your face.
Every single day.
You know how many times you probably swipe your phone open, 150 times a day? Oh, and every time you swipe it open, it's there. And it's like, oh yeah, I need to do this. Yeah. Right. And then, of course, you can export it as text or PDF or outline format. So that really is the mapping method in a nutshell, the ability to go through those 5 steps in order using a mind map tool and keeping it very relevant and present for you at all times by having it on your screen as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. So I guess let me back up for just a second. So in your system, you would start off with the aftermath, and then you would move through to the brainstorming and then container and detail. So what if I already have some content that I want to repurpose into some sort of product, I kind of skipped that step, right? Or no?
Well, not really, because see, once you've created, so the brainstorming part is when you're putting together all of the pieces that you need.
Right.
So what you can do is you can drag and drop your pieces of content or your bullet points or whatever into your brainstorm document. And there are ways that you can actually import text into a mind map, and then it will rearrange it for you into different nodes. And then you can take, in fact, when I go through the process, what I tend to do is I copy and I paste from brainstorm into containers, or I create my containers and then I drag in the pieces that I need from the brainstorm and rearrange them into containers.
Got you. Do you have an example of a mind map that you can show, or I'm sorry, a digital product map that you can show us that gives people an idea of like what those different pieces are? So I can understand brainstorming is really just generating the ideas, but what's a container? You know?
Okay, so I'm going to go into the detailed part of this so that you could see what I mean by all of that. And let me just go back to sharing my screen again. I'm using an iPad here to drive the thing so that I can see what I'm doing.
And I know we only have a few more minutes in this particular interview, but I just wanted to give people kind of an idea of what this looks like inside one of those platforms.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to pull up the XMind, the one that I actually did for this presentation,
cool.
So that you could see a little bit about what that would look like. It's just loading up. I should have had it open, but I kind of closed it by accident. No beach ball, please, dear Mac. Okay, so let me open recent. And here it is. Okay. Here it is. It's huge. Let me just share screen. And here it is. Okay, so now
we see it.
Make it a bit smaller. I'll just enlarge my screen here. So for example, this is the mind map that I used for this. So as you can see on the aftermath, I have what would somebody want to know so that they will be able to create. Now let me just zoom in here, that they'll be able to quickly create a product. They'll be able to do this. You know, this is the kind of tool that I'm able to use on the road.
Right.
And in the brainstorming section, as you can see, just lots of different ideas. I even have some pictures that I may have wanted to use, you know, as part of the slides and so on. And now I get to the containers. Now, one of the important part about the containers is that we always think that a digital product is just the product. It's not. What you need is also the sales page, you need the opt-in page, you need the freebie that goes with it, you need all of those other pieces that make up the digital product, because you're not just creating a product, you're actually putting it up for sale.
Right.
And so as part of creating the containers, I also create a container for the process of breaking off a part of the digital product to make it into an opt-in, for example. What benefits I might put on the sales page, which I will grab from the brainstorming and from the outcome, and so on. So that then when I'm done, you'll be able to, I think this is an older version. So then when I'm finished with each one of the containers, this also acts as as like a project plan, because what I can then do is I can give it a marker and show that this task has been done.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So basically the container is everything with regard to actually delivering this product.
Absolutely.
What are the things that you need? You know, it's almost like your real world packaging.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you have everything. It's kind of like preparing for a meal.
Yeah.
And you're focusing on just the sauce for the lasagna, but you know, your time is up and you didn't actually prepare the bechamel sauce, and you didn't do the salad, and you didn't do, you know, so you food. So you want to make sure that you've got everything because at the end of the day, even if you've got the meal prepared, if you haven't got something to serve it in, or you know, everything else that goes with it, it's not done.
Yeah.
What we used to say in the corporate world when I worked as a director of applications is that it's not done until it's in the hands of the users and in use.
Yes.
That's when it's done.
That's when it's done. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how can people reach out to you if they want to access? I know that you're providing a link below here, you know, for them to have access to a freebie, but how can they reach out to you for more resources or maybe work with you or whatever? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right. So you can find me at naima.co. So that's naima.co. And if you click on the link below, you'll be able to get a little bit of a start on this digital product creation process. It's a lovely little freebie that should be able to take you through that. And or you can reach out to me on Facebook. My Facebook page is at facebook.com/the Naima Co. As you know, the Naima company. But it's actually, I couldn't get the .com, but that's another story.
One of these days it'll become available. Don't worry.
Yes, yes. Or if you're a Twitter person, you can reach me at twitter.com/_Naima, Naima.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Naima. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you sharing all the information with us about mind mapping your digital products. I'm super excited to try some of what I've learned now. So I create a ton of digital products myself. So I'm very, very excited to try these things out. Guys, if you are sticking around as part of the All Access Pass, make sure you check out the next video where Naima is going to go really deep into creating a mind map, and we are going to get all the tips and tricks on how to create our own and really get our digital products mapped out. If you are sticking with the free version, we will see you on the next interview. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.